This is Overcomplicated Summer Life Hacks, where we'll solve your simple summer struggles with some grossly overengineered ingenuity. If you've got a portable fan that doesn't oscillate, how can you share the festering air with your waifu? Oh, but fear not, thrifty viewers, we've got the definitive directions to engineer your own oscillating fan. All you need for this contraption is your fan, two small mending plates or brackets like these, an electrical or battery-powered drill, and a ruler that we didn't include in this shot, but we'll show it to you later. Start by putting a bolt through the third hole in the bracket, then fasten it down tightly. You may want to use pliers and a screwdriver to do this part because once you're done building this thing, you're gonna want it as a permanent fixture. Now take that bracket and insert that bolt into the upright sitting drill. Get the drill to tighten down on the bolt securely, and then stick a hex nut onto the long machine screw. Go ahead and stick it through the furthest hole in the mending bracket, coming up from the bottom. You should have just about an inch or so sticking out. After you secure that screw with another hex nut, grab the ruler that we discussed earlier and place it onto the exposed threads of the squirrely screw. Now bolt that one down as well. Excellent, we're halfway there. Grab your fan and the other bracket. We're gonna fix it to the rear of the fan, making sure to leave enough of it sticking out so we can hook it up to our ruler arm. To get this thing to stick down, we decided to go with some old trusty hot glue because we know how much you all love seeing this stuff, but more importantly, how much we love using it. All you've got to do now is hold down that little button and watch this twister roar. Back and forth, to and fro. The fan moves fast when it's on the go. Perhaps maybe a little too fast, but it'll certainly cycle the air effectively. Now if you're feeling a bit lazy or just want your fan to run all by itself, just take the battery off your drill and slide a few rubber bands over the handle. You may want to double them over themselves and get a firm grip, but once they're tightly wrapped around the trigger, you're all set. Slide your battery back on and relax in the silent luxury that only Black & Decker could provide. We don't even want to talk about what a chore it is to be assigned to cut all the watermelon for your family reunion, so let's just jump right into this thing. We're going to show you how to slice and dice those melons in one fell swoop. We'll start by putting on some safety gloves and laying our giant water jug on its side. While holding it firmly, use a rotary tool to remove about an inch up from the bottom, then all of the top, right up until the bottle starts to curve. What you should be left with is a heavy-duty plastic cylinder with a fancy handle. Using that handle, clamp your cylinder tightly with a vise. Make sure it's really in there good because we're about to do some surgery. Just scoop up 4 matching chef's knives and brandish them like you're some kind of X-Man. We tested out quite a few configurations for this little contraption, but we found the best results actually came from putting the knives through the cylinder in a parallel formation. To set that up, mark the spot that you're going to be inserting the knife into the bottle, and then grab a rotary tool and cut that slot out. Place the knife all the way into the jug and make sure it's got a good fit. Once you've confirmed the positioning is perfect, remove the knife, then repeat the process of marking and cutting holes for the rest of your wacky fruit cutter. You'll end up with a watermelon slicing Wolverine claw, except ours is less likely to have a series of films made about it. And without further ado, let's put this thing to the test. This impressive watermelon was chucked into the cylinder at high speeds. As you can see, the Wolverine slicer made short work of it. Amazing, isn't it? It even made sure that every single slice is completely surrounded by the rind of the watermelon, which is everyone's favorite part. Now, some of you may be asking, but what if the watermelon gets stuck on the knives? Well, do not panic. Just grab the top of your jug that you cut off earlier, and whichever plunger smells the cleanest. You can stick the plunger through the top, then safely press your desired edibles through the knives until you've liberated your slices from the blades of doom. Oh yes, ingenious and delicious. Summertime being here also heralds the arrival of our most fearsome foe, the invitation to go outside with others. But what do you do when you're almost ready to get moving, but your buddy mistook your styrofoam cooler for a comfy resting spot? Oof. Alright, stop, collaborate with us and listen, because Household Hacker's back with a brand new invention, something we call the ice chest. Go ahead and snag yourself a couple plastic containers, one of them being slightly smaller than the other. You'll start by placing the larger container on a flat surface, then place the small container inside of it. Next, place 2 bricks near the center of the plastic tub. You see, once the water starts flowing, the inner container will try its best to float away. We don't want that, so the bricks will aid in the buoyancy reduction. Now follow this up by strapping 2 bungee cords over the top of both containers to keep everything in place, and it's it's time to grab a couple pitchers of water. Just slowly and carefully pour them into the empty space between the bins. As the water level rises, go ahead and adjust as needed to keep everything centered. Just make sure that you remember to leave a little space at the top to allow for the water to expand as it freezes later. Alright, now just throw that puppy in the freezer because by this time tomorrow, you'll be ready to crack open your finely crafted artisanal ice chest. When it's ready, just pop it out and bring it over to the table. Start by removing the bungees and the bricks. Now just slowly pry the walls of the smaller container away from the ice, working your way around the edges carefully as you want to do your best to avoid shattering the ice. Go ahead and pop that little guy out of there and follow suit with the walls of the larger container. With any luck, it'll slide right out when you flip it upside down. There you have it, a cooler made of actual ice, and it's sure to keep anything you load with it nice and cool. As you can see here, we've got all the necessities. Couple cans of soda, an apple, and hey, what's an apple without some delicious mayonnaise? Because as you know, a mayo apple a day keeps the friendships away. Grab yourself a beefy garbage bag and snip the sides off so you can fully lay it out on the table. Now slide the ice chest back on top and fold up the sides so that the handles meet at the top. Great, just grab it and take it outside for your budget picnic. Because we want to prove a point to all you naysayers out there, we put this thing directly into the hot summer sun and shocked even ourselves with how long it lasted. Here, we'll go ahead and speed up 3 hours of our footage to save you some time. As you can see, it definitely starts melting down a bit, but not enough to make it ineffective. We actually had to keep repositioning the table to retain direct sunlight. Now, we're not going to guarantee the same results if you're to, say, place it down in hot sand at the beach, but it's perfect for a quick picnic and definitely has the makings of a great conversation starter. Ultimately, it did eventually start to lose structural cohesion as demonstrated by the cans popping out from the side. Until then, however, everything stayed nice and frosty until the ice chest met its bitter end with a sledgehammer and we converted it into lovely ice cubes for all the neighborhood kids to enjoy. Everyone has a video about how to make an air conditioner with a fan, some ice, and hey, a cooler as well. But who has time for all that nonsense? Let's complicate this system a bit and effectively spot cool anything in range. Head over to the hardware store and invest in a sturdy fan, some copper tubing, a small fountain pump, and a pack of zip ties. You're gonna start by coiling the copper tubing around the exterior of the fan, making a spiral towards the center. If you're lucky, the copper coil may already be the perfect size for you. Just make sure you space it out for optimal airflow. Zip tie each and every loop of the copper to the grill of the fan every 6 inches or so, because this is going to ensure that it stays in place. It might take you a little while to work your way around the entire thing, but it's well worth it because once the cold water starts a-flowing through the tubes, you can spread that freezing joy around to your overheated guests. When you get to the center of the Tootsie Pop, the fan, it's necessary to leave yourself about 1.5 feet of tube to stretch outward towards the other end of the coil. This will be where you place your cold water reservoir. Using a small pipe cutter like this, slice the end of the copper tube to the length that you need. Our fountain pump had a small adapter which helped form a airtight seal around the copper. We attached that with some aluminum tape because you can never be too careful and we like things to be extra secure. Alrighty, now fill your reservoir bowl up with cold water and proceed to sink the pump directly inside. Once it's underwater, shake it around a bit and get those air bubbles out of it. Now, attach the copper and adapter to the pump. That's it. Plug the pump in and in just a few moments you'll see the cold water flowing through the pipe and back into the reservoir. Just dump some ice cubes into this thing every now and then for best results. Now this thing really works wonders. In this demonstration you can see the water is at about 59 degrees Fahrenheit while the fan is blowing out around 71 degrees. Now bear in mind that's in a hot garage that's definitely over 80 degrees. So hey, we've got quite a temperature drop here. As mentioned earlier, you just have to keep adding ice as you need it. And if you don't have a traditional air conditioner available, this will certainly solve that problem while giving you the problem of creating it. Fake comment by household hacker made in Photoshop 47 asked us in a previous video. Hey, is there any way to open a soda can on a hot day without using my fingers? Ah, no worries friend, there certainly is. Just go ahead and grab 2 rope pulleys, a brick, your soda, some paracord of ice, and a pre-constructed wooden cube with exposed siding. How convenient. After you have your vise attached to the bottom left of your cube, drill a hole into the frame directly above it. Now's the time to screw in one of those hooks that we didn't show you earlier. When that's all done, drill another hole directly across from where you just put the first hook, and do the same on that side. Alright, next up, grab your rope pulleys and hang them onto the hooks. Snip off about 10 feet of paracord and grab your brick. You're going to want to wrap this brick up like a Christmas present, coming from the bottom up and then twisting it 90 degrees, going back around to the other side. After that, go ahead and knot it down, and you can wrap the strings around the brick using multicolored rubber bands. The multicolored rubber bands are important because they'll ensure a powerful bond because there's strength and diversity. When your brick is secured, take the rest of your paracord and loop it over the pulley system until the brick is elevated about a foot in the air. Place it onto a box or appropriately sized styrofoam box piece. You're going to take that last hook and tie a slip knot over the end to affix it to the end of the cord. For our demonstration, we covered our vise in some gloves to make sure that the grooves on the vise wouldn't puncture our soda, in addition to giving it a little more grip. Simply put your tasty nectar of choice into the open palms of your vise, then crank it down until it won't let go. Just slither your hook underneath the tab of the soda, then slap your styrofoam block out of the way with a heavy wrench. Look at that thing go. You can open up as many cans as you need, all without the pain of prying your fingers under that pesky tab. Just keep hooking the tab under and dropping the brick like it's hot. We certainly hope you enjoyed this little foray into the overcomplication of otherwise simplistic tasks. Kobe! If you want more overcomplicated life hacks, just click the playlist on your screen right now and grab some popcorn, because you're in for a ride. Thanks for watching, and be sure to slap that subscribe button on your way out.
Donald Royal!